People who are optimistic all the time, how the fuck do you do it? When you've had bad stuff happen so often for so long, you eventually reach a time where you can go, I lived through worse, and then the things doesn't bother you that much as it's nothing new. That, and it's by far easier to stay positive and optimistic than it is to get out of the pit that is negativity. It's somewhat of a choice if you ask me. I realize that my youth is now and there is no reason to waste it in regret. I don't expect the best to always happen, but I accept what happens and find any positives that I can gather from it. Cocaine. Musical note: I don't know why, but I feel like today's gonna be a great day. Musical note: I don't know. It's just in my system, monsieur, perhaps? Just a surplus amount of hope in my brain. It's a bit of a disadvantage though, since you always remain hopeful no matter how hopeless the situation, and it ends up hurting you quite terribly. On the bright side, I like being optimistic. It keeps you going regardless of how difficult the trail is. For me, it's not really a voluntary thing. I don't choose to be optimistic. I just am, monsieur. My mind naturally searches for the good in any given situation. You could tell me the world is ending tomorrow, and my first thought would be that this means we still have the whole night. It's actually something I have to be really careful with because I've definitely made insensitive comments when people were going through some bad stuff. I try to make the best of everything. I spent too much time worrying about things I couldn't change, so I changed my perspective. It's about the only thing you have control over. Recognize that humans are naturally inclined towards pessimism, and that everyone constantly saying how the world is ending is focusing more on the bad than good. Acknowledge that every single generation since the dawn of human history has been worried that the world had peaked and that the next generation was doomed, and that despite this, society has been on a generally upward trend during that time, with advances in both technology and society making life better, easier, and longer than before. Realize that the problems we're seeing today, like plagues and racism and toxic media, have always been problems, and they're in the news because we're tackling them in ways we've never done before. Their world still sucks in a lot of ways, but decade to decade it's sucking less and less. Try not to focus too much on the backslides. Basically, you do it only when others are around you. I don't want my depression to come back. I know how hard it is to crawl back up. Better to fight to stay on top than risk hitting the bottom again. We've been through some shit in my 55 years. It has all worked out. This will too. Asterisk. We equals all of us. Asterisk. With great difficulty. Lots of people will reply with strategies on how they do it, but the ultimate answer is their chemical makeup of their brain just works. One of my best friends is just naturally high on life all the time. Even when he was struggling to find a girlfriend for years, or face disappointment, he was happy. He doesn't attempt this or work for it. He just hit the genetic lottery for it. Yep. Like being smart, or pretty. You can work at it, and with work a lot of folks can get there, but some have a sizable head start. Woman shrugging. I dunno, just kinda am. So you are just chilling in optimism. That's so cool. Because the alternative is to be miserable and hopeless. We know. We are asking how, not why. My answer is both my why and my how. I can't give anyone a definitive answer because I struggle with depression every day. But even with that, I never lose my optimism, because doing so would be admitting defeat to the forces I fought admirably for my whole life. There is zero benefit to pessimism, an infinite possibility with optimism. I rationalize that my problems are minuscule in comparison to someone else at that exact moment. My car breaks down and I am upset, but I'll manage. Meanwhile, someone else has no transportation at all. I am sick and miserable, but someone else is dying from something they can't control. This doesn't mean I am never upset. I definitely cry it out sometimes, but for the most part, I am great at keeping my composure and realizing that I can't control a lot of what life hands me, but I can react to how I handle those things. That's so wise and beautiful thought. Weird how no one said Jesus. I don't know, but it's tiring. You're doing great, my friend. People ask me this a lot, because I'm always upbeat and optimistic, under almost any circumstances. Not sure exactly why that is, but I will say that unlike a lot of folks, I am very comfortable in my own skin. I am very happy with who I am as a person. No matter what happens, I'll always have me, and I like me, so I'm good with that. That's not to say I don't beat myself up over bad decisions I've made. They certainly happen, but I've learned to not dwell on mistakes. Learn from them and move forward. Don't let the past bring you down. Recognize the patterns that bring you down and work to change them, monsieur. I think those things contribute to my having a positive outlook on life and being optimistic. If you are having serious issues with depression, please seek professional help if possible, because I don't like to think of the alternative, so I avoid the negativity as much as possible. This electroshock butt plug. Be grateful even when you're not. I have accepted that all the steps we take in life, all the decisions we think are necessary, are, in the end, meaningless. In about 3 or 4 generations, we will all be forgotten, lost in the unstoppable flow of time. Each day after our passing, the memories people will have of us will grow ever dimmer. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. So once you accept these facts, once you embrace them, only then can you let go. Make something of your life. The bad moments will come to pass. Expect the best of every situation, because if something bad happens, you'll end up forgetting it. And if something or someone good happens, you will most certainly feel happy for not having turned your back because of apprehension. I'm not sure. It's just how my brain thinks. Whenever something bad happens, I always think how it could have been worse. I went into kidney failure and needed a transplant. At least it wasn't my heart. It took me till I was 47 to find love. At least I didn't depend years until loveless marriage. I also don't dwell on things I can't change, like the kidney failure. No use getting all depressed about it. This is just the way it is now. Focus on what you can do about the disease. Same with COVID. No point whining about masks and this new way of life. It's here. Adapt and move on. Quoting my wife, I have always been that way. Why should I worry? In the end, everything turns out great, or we are able to overcome everything. She is also very great at not realizing how bad things almost turned out every time. You can choose your outlook on life. Here's some tips I received that helped me change for the better. 1. Start your day with a gratitude meditation. Spend a quiet couple of minutes asking, what if you woke up tomorrow with only those things you were grateful for today? Quote. 2. Internalize. Don't externalize. You can't change the world, but you can change the world you live in. Focus on the part of the world that's in your control for making change. Accept the parts you can't change. 3. Don't forgive others. Instead, wish them the best, except that you don't know all the reasons behind other people's behavior. Genes, upbringing, environment, who knows? Dwelling on resentment breeds more resentment. Wish them the best in life and they won't live in your head. Oh damn, thanks for the effort. I'll try to do this every day. I would say one should forgive. Wishing them the best could only be possible if you move along with a better mindset. Hard to do that if carrying unforgiving debt within your heart. Love others. Accept everyone doesn't mean well or mess up at times, and forgive others as you would be forgiven. That's true peace. You're living on a rock being flung around a burning ball of hydrogen, which is itself being whipped around a supermassive black hole, which is being blasted outwards at unimaginable speeds away from whatever its point of origin was. Might as well try to be happy. I've always felt that I won't survive adulthood if I have poor mental health. I've seen full-blown anxiety attacks. People cry about their careers. People stressing about whatever in their life. That's totally fair, and it looks detrimental and awful. Those feelings would take years off my life, and I've always looked at optimism as a survival tactic. I'm a realist, but I use optimism to ensure my mental outlook is positive so as not to go down that road of anxiety or depression, which I've experienced. I've been through much worse things in my life, and when I think about where I am now, I know that things can get better, and that gives me optimistic perspectives. I would ask the same thing to a pessimist. It's easy to look for solutions and look at only the good. I can answer. In my opinion, I always view good things as a given. Like, for example, seeing everyone achieve a similar milestone. However, I'll think back and think, why didn't I do better? And then look to people who have more achievements than me, and feel that I am inferior. On the other hand, when I look at failure, I think that's because of my incapability to do things, and it's hard to focus on the bright side of things. After that, I just tell myself that I can't do it and just spiral downwards. So I really don't know how you guys do it. Sounds like you're internalizing failures and externalizing success. Doing really well is just adequate, and so any diversion from that is always bad. I'd suggest trying to reevaluate what success even means to you. What is an accomplishment that you would like to achieve? If you have no goals of your own and everything you do is just stumbling along a path set by others, then your view is more or less accurate. If you shoot for the bare minimum as others set it up, you don't have room to really accomplish anything meaningful to you, because they're not your goals, but you can make them your goals. Even things like graduating high school can be things you really want to do, and then they become accomplishments rather than just another mile marker along the 1,000-mile highway. I'll keep that in mind. Thanks. Focus on one win at a time. Small things all add up. Focus on waking up early. First win. Then meditate or work out. Second win. Then do something nice for yourself or work on a business for 15 to 30 minutes. Third win. Then just keep doing things that make you happy. It's your only job in life is to make yourself truly happy. No one else is going to do it for you. Realize that not every failure is your burden to carry and that everyone fails. Even the most successful people in the world have failed numerous times. Learn from the failure. Don't beat yourself up over it too much, and move on. If you're making the same mistakes over and over, try to recognize that and overcome it. But really, don't get hung up on your failures. I know it's easier said than done. Take some time to reflect on the failure. Figure out what happened, and then move on. Once you've pinpointed the reason for the failure, there's no reason to dwell on the failure anymore. You can't change it. You found what you did wrong so as to not do it again. Dwelling on it longer serves no purpose. And take every W you can get. Some people will have more W's than you. That doesn't mean you are inferior. I know people who work and have many more W's than I do. I work hard when I'm at work, but when I'm done for the day, I'm done. I rarely reply to emails outside of business hours. I rarely answer work calls or texts. They have more W's at work, because that's what they choose to focus on. I feel like I have more W's in other areas, because that's what I choose to focus on. Do you have any tips to help me move on from my failure? Sometimes I just keep coming back to the same dead end again when I encounter a similar problem. Thanks. Whenever you start thinking about it, try your best to think about something else. It kinda feels like ignoring yourself. It's a bit weird. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.